Every year on February 20th, we take a moment to think about a really big question. How do we build a world that's genuinely fair for everyone? Well, that's exactly what the World Day of Social Justice is all about. It's a day for us to focus on some of our biggest global challenges. Everything from poverty to deep-seated inequality. So to kick things off, I want to show you a number that really gets to the heart of why this day is so important. 402 million. That's the estimated number of people in the global jobs gap for 2024. Think about that. That's how many people out there want a job but just can't find one. And this isn't just some statistic on a page. It represents millions of real people who are being denied a fundamental piece of their dignity and security.
Okay, so we hear the term social justice thrown around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? What does it look like in the real world? Turns out, it's pretty much the essential ingredient for creating societies that aren't just wealthy, but are also stable and fair for everybody living in them.
The International Labor Organization gives us a really powerful way to think about it. Social justice isn't some lofty, abstract idea. Nope, it's the very real, concrete right that every single person has to build a good life for themselves, and to do it with freedom, with dignity, and with a sense of economic security. It really just boils down to making sure everyone gets a fair shot.
Now, a day like this doesn't just pop up on the calendar out of nowhere. It actually has deep roots, growing out of decades of international work and commitment. So let's take a quick look back and see how the World Day of Social Justice actually came to be.
You can see the path to getting this day officially recognized was a really deliberate process. It all started back in 1995 in Copenhagen with a huge summit that pledged to fight poverty and build more just societies. That really lit a fire, and the momentum carried all the way to 2007 when the UN made it official. The International Labor Organization threw its weight behind it in 2008, and that all led up to the very first global observance in 2009.
And that brings us right up to today, and more specifically to the focus for 2026. See, to keep the conversation fresh and focused, each year gets its own unique theme, something to guide the discussions and, more importantly, the actions that happen all over the world.
So for 2026, the theme is a direct and powerful call to action, empowering inclusion, bridging gaps for social justice. This is basically a challenge to every single one of us to help tear down the barriers that keep people out, and to start intentionally bringing those who've been marginalized right to the center of the conversation.
And this theme is built on 4 really strong connected pillars. It all starts with empowering inclusion, making sure everyone has a seat at the table. From there, that leads to bridging inequalities, getting to the root causes. And a huge part of that is made possible by the 3rd pillar, decent work for all, which gives people economic stability. And finally, all of this is held up by stronger social protection, which creates those crucial safety nets to catch people when things go wrong.
Now, this data tells a really interesting story, kind of a tale of two halves. On the one hand, look at the incredible progress we've made since the 90s. We've slashed child labor and made huge dents in extreme poverty. But, and this is a big but, on the other hand, there are still massive gaps. A staggering 58% of the world's workforce is in the informal economy. That often means no rights, no security, no safety net. It just goes to show how much work we still have left to do.
So the big question is, how do we get from setting these goals to actually making them a reality? Well, the answer goes way beyond just having a theme for the year. It takes real, concrete action, driven by powerful groups who are dedicated to pushing for real change.
One of the key players here is the Global Coalition for Social Justice. It's backed by the ILO, and it brings together governments, employers, and workers. And their focus is huge. They're fighting discrimination, pushing for labor rights, and working to make sure that as our world changes, like with the move to green economies, that transition is fair and just for absolutely everyone involved. Let's look at what this looks like on the ground. Take Thailand, for example. Their universal coverage scheme completely revolutionized healthcare, guaranteeing that pretty much every citizen could get the care they need. And the result? A massive improvement in people's health and a model that the rest of the world can learn from. Or let's jump over to the digital world. In Kenya, the Ajira Digital Program is another incredible example. By training young people and connecting them to online work, it's tackling youth unemployment head-on. It's empowering a whole new generation to build their own futures. It's a total game changer. And then there's Colombia's Sirpi Lopaga program. This shows just how powerful education can be. By giving scholarships to talented students from low-income families, it literally built a bridge to opportunity that just wasn't there before, helping to break that cycle of poverty for thousands.
These big, amazing examples are so inspiring, right? But they don't tell the whole story.
Because social justice isn't just a job for governments or huge organizations. It's something that starts with every single one of us right where we are in our own communities.
I love this quote because it just perfectly captures what we're talking about. Advocacy is loving our neighbor at scale. It reframes the whole idea. It's not just about protesting. It's about caring. It's about taking that fundamental human desire to help the person next to you and scaling it up to challenge the systems that cause the problems in the first place.
And the great news is there are so many ways you can be a part of this. Your power is real. As a consumer, you can choose to support ethical businesses. As a neighbor, you can volunteer. As a citizen, you can learn about the biggest issues facing your own community. Even as a voice online, you can raise awareness with a hashtag like #SocialJusticeDay. Seriously, no action is too small to make a difference.
Because at the end of the day, the journey towards social justice is something we're all on together. It needs our attention, it needs our empathy, and it definitely needs our action. So the final question isn't really for governments or big organizations, it's for you, and it's for me. Justice requires action. What will yours be?